LA This Week.
For years, LA City libraries have been a safe haven for undocumented immigrants trying to get their citizenship. But now services are really being enhanced, particularly at 6 locations. I'm Gil Reyes with the story next.
I'm Anna Marcos. More clean local drinking water for the valley with the NoHo West remediation project. That story coming up.
A special presentation on orangutans at the LA Zoo. I'm Rasha Goel. Up next, some important information you should know about these lovely primates.
Hello and welcome to LA This Week. Thanks for joining us. I'm Yana Kay. Well, he's been part of the LAPD for decades and its top cop for the last 9 years. But in an unexpected move, Chief Charlie Beck has announced he will step down later this year. Anna Marcos has more.
It was a packed house that heard the surprise announcement, which caught even his command staff by surprise. Chief Charlie Beck's news conference on crime statistics quickly took a backseat to the news he's retiring in the middle of his term after more than 42 years in policing. The often emotional statement came with an attempt at humor.
Many of you will ask, why now? Some of you will ask, why not before now? But that was a joke. You can laugh. This is not an obituary.
Beck's 9 years as chief have seen him launch new reforms, and crime overall has gone down.
No chief has had 8+ years of crime levels this low in our city's history.
But there have been crime spikes in the last few years. Officer-involved shootings here and throughout the nation also fueled public anger, and police commission meetings were heated, with Black Lives Matter groups often calling for him to step down.
This is a tough time in policing in America, and having a mayor that stands side by side with his police chief, not just in good times, but in bad times, is really important. So thank you, Mayor.
Chief Beck says the decision to retire early is his, and that he's leaving at a time when the right mayor and the right leadership are in place to pick the right police chief for the LAPD's next phase.
You will always be, to me, the chief of police here in Los Angeles. Thank you, Charlie.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
As for city leaders' reactions, Council President Herb Wesson says he leaves the LAPD on a path of progress. And Councilmember Joe Buscaino is looking ahead, saying it's time for Los Angeles to have its first female chief. Beck will stay on as chief until June 27th of this year. I'm Anna Marcos for LA This Week.
Well, Beck says he wants more time to spend with his family. The search for the new police chief will begin right away. Well, Salvadorians in Los Angeles are feeling the pressure since President Trump canceled key protections for undocumented immigrants. But offering some relief are LA City libraries, not just for Salvadorians, but anyone seeking American citizenship. Gil Reyes has more from the Central Library. Gil.
Well, Yana, as the Trump administration really tightens the screws and makes things even tougher for LA's undocumented immigrants, LA City libraries are trying to make things a lot easier, really enhancing citizenship services at all 73 branches.
We're living in a historic moment where immigrants, whether documented or not, are being attacked.
Marta Arevalo of citizens' rights group Carecen is worried about President Trump's decision to end temporary protected status for Salvadorans. In Los Angeles alone, some 30,000 Salvadorans who had been allowed to remain could be deported, forced to leave on their own, or forced to hide unless they attain U.S. citizenship or other type of legal residency within 2 years.
I'm so proud of the city of Los Angeles and for the libraries to do their part.
Helping out are several LA City libraries and their new American centers. Now, all of our city libraries have basic citizenship services, pamphlets and application forms such as these. But these new centers will also have library staff trained by the Department of Justice to help people with the application process.
And we are going to be working with partners like Krekorian, Asian Americans Advancing Justice, International Rescue Committee, to be able to offer one-on-one assistance.
Mayor Eric Garcetti says only 2 other cities offer this free expert advice.
In Addison, Illinois, and Hartford, Connecticut. So, west of the Mississippi, this is all you got, and hopefully other cities will be able to be part of this, but we are so excited to be at the forefront.
Participating libraries are Central Library and Junipero Serra branches in downtown, also Pacoima and Wilmington branches, Benjamin Franklin Library in Boyle Heights, and Pio Pico Koreatown will have their own New American Centers up and running this summer. From downtown Central Library, I'm Gil Reyes for LA This Week.
In addition, all 73 branches are upgrading their basic citizenship services. They will include welcoming stations with multimedia tools to assist Angelenos in the naturalization process. Well, turning now to homelessness, it was a full house at a recent town hall on the topic in the Valley. In fact, it was standing room only. Councilmember Paul Krekorian held the town hall to encourage residents to become part of the solution. Anna Marcos reports.
It's another effort to stem the rising tide of homelessness and find some solutions. This town hall on homelessness in the Valley drew hundreds of residents, some supportive of their homeless neighbors, some not so much.
They've got homeless parked on their street in front of their businesses. It's disrupting everything, and nobody knows what to do about it.
We, who are fortunate enough to live in a community that can afford nice things, should be a little more generous and a little more giving.
I feel that resources for people who need them are diminishing, and it puts more people on the street.
Councilmember Paul Krekorian put on the town hall to bring together city leaders, agencies, and groups that deal with homelessness to answer residents' questions and update them on efforts by the city to fight homelessness.
The homelessness challenge that this city is facing is the result of 50 years of social phenomenon like failure to appropriately address mental health problems, failure to invest sufficiently in substance abuse prevention, the lack of affordability of housing in this city, and the enormous wage gap. It's not going to be a problem that can easily be solved with one simple solution in a short amount of time. It's going to take sustained effort.
Homeless census count figures reflect the growing epidemic. In 2016, the count showed 28,500 homeless people living in LA. But last year, 2017, saw that number skyrocket to 34,000, a one-year increase of more than 20%.
One of the questions that came out in, that folks were asking is sort of where are these folks coming from? And I think there's a tendency to think that this is an imported problem. This is not an imported problem. This is a Los Angeles problem.
Krekorian is putting solutions to work in his own district. He hosts Homeless Connect Days, events where homeless people find all services in one place: housing referrals, food, showers, medical care, even DMV ID cards. A new supportive housing complex, a pilot program that links job training and housing, and a center that provides storage for people on the street are also part of this area's game plan. Moultrie Potter, who was once homeless, got help from a Valley program, and he's now ready to follow his culinary dreams.
I want to open up a food truck. My future is bright now. I have so many resources. My mental health is great.
And in this room, it's clear that LA residents themselves are ready to help find solutions to LA's homeless challenges. I'm Anna Marcos for LA This Week.
Other agencies that took part in the town hall included the LAPD, the City Sanitation Department, and the LA County Homeless Initiative. Well, women, and yes, men too, hit the streets in droves to support equal rights, equal pay, and zero harassment in the workplace. LA's second annual Women's March was even bigger than last year's. And as Gil Reyes reports, the stars also came out to support.
Every single day, your job as an American citizen is not just to fight for your rights. It's to fight for the right of every individual that is taking a breath.
Academy Award winner Viola Davis speaks to the hundreds of thousands gathered at downtown Civic Center, the culmination of LA's Women's March. The nearly 1 mile procession from Pershing Square to Grand Park was one of several women's marches throughout the country.
I'm here to support women's rights and women's equality in the workplace, equal pay for women, and Planned Parenthood for sure.
Another cause highlighted this day, the Me Too movement, taking a stand against sexual assault and harassment in the workplace. From movie mogul Harvey Weinstein to TV host Matt Lauer, allegations of misconduct have destroyed the careers of once powerful men in the media and in entertainment.
Men say that our movement makes them feel uncomfortable and paranoid. And to that I say, this movement is not about catering our voices to accommodate your comfort.
Maybe men can say and do whatever they want, but women cannot. The current system inhibits women from expressing our desires, wants, and needs.
Also everywhere were signs to dump Trump, himself accused of misbehavior by several women. Organizers had planned the marches as a get out and vote campaign for the upcoming midterm elections. Democrats have a shot at flipping Congress in November. Other issues, including immigration policy, hang in the balance.
And some might not like it, but look around you. Los Angeles is the face of the world today. And sorry, Mr. President, we're the face of this country tomorrow.
Reporting from downtown Civic Center, I'm Gil Reyes for LA This Week.
Police reported no arrests and no major problems. Well, it's a water reclamation project that could change the way LA does water. The NoHo West remediation project will be the first of several to help generate more water for LA and lessen its dependence on imported water. Anna Marcos has more.
It's the state's second largest underground water reservoir, but for decades the water in the San Fernando Basin had been off limits to a dry and thirsty LA, until now. The city's NoHo West remediation project, now under construction, is about to change that by cleaning up the contamination left by industries during World War II.
The industries that brought us these great middle-class jobs and that brought us the technological advances that we enjoy today also left us with contaminated groundwater that has tainted our water supply for decades.
We are actually taking water that has been contaminated for a half a century and bringing it up to drinking water standards.
Right now, about 70% of all the water wells in the San Fernando Basin are contaminated, but this project will bring clean water to more than 35,000 families, and it's just one of several projects on the way.
We'll not just only be able to keep it here, we'll be able to drink it, we'll be able to use it, instead of it being stuck in polluted groundwater basins or washed out to the ocean. And that's a huge re-engineering. I like to call it a second Mulholland moment.
NoHo West, a $92 million project, will be one of 4 water reclamation projects. It's set to be completed in 2020. I'm Anna Marcos for LA This Week.
The city of LA plans to spend $600 million on these projects in the next 4 years. The money comes from a state water bond approved by voters. Well, can eyeglasses really help you learn? Well, educators are counting on it. A joint program by the LA Clippers Foundation, LAUSD, and the group Vision to Learn is giving out lots of free eyewear to LAUSD students. Anna Marcos has more.
Even Chuck, the LA Clippers mascot, is making a pitch for the four-eyed look. And the kids at this free eyeglass fitting at Flournoy Elementary are getting the idea. Glasses are cool.
At first, when I got my glasses, I was very confused, but at the same time nervous, because I didn't know that I needed glasses. And then when I put them on, I looked outside. I was very excited, but at the same time mind blown. I was like, whoa, everything looks so different.
In fact, 200 students at this school, a whopping 30%, reportedly failed their eye exams. The story is similar throughout LAUSD, where 20% of students need glasses. And officials say many of their parents can't afford eyeglasses or exams.
In class, it's hard for me to read the board. It makes me feel embarrassed because then I have to walk up to the board to see it.
That's where this free eyeglass fitting comes in. The joint effort between the LA Clippers Foundation, LAUSD, and the nonprofit group Vision to Learn will bring free eye exams and eyeglasses to thousands of LA school children over the next 2 years.
But after today, I may have to go get some glasses just so I can be as cool as all you will be when you got your glasses today.
And this is something that is very, very important. And when you hear the facts and you hear the amount of kids that this will affect and impact positively, it's kind of a no-brainer.
According to educators, 80% of children's learning throughout grade school is visual. So eyeglasses are more than just visual aids. They're a critical learning tool.
Thank you, Mr. Griffin. Thank you all for modeling how we get to 100% graduation. Help the kids see. Let's make sure who needs glasses gets glasses.
Because just like eyeglasses are cool, so is a successful high school graduated egghead. I'm Anna Marcos for LA This Week.
The Vision program will benefit LAUSD students from K through 12. In the 1980s, singer DeBarge seemingly had it all until addictions to painkillers and crack caught up to him. Now drug-free, the artist performed a show for others facing similar demons. Gil Reyes has more.
When it feels like the world is on your shoulders.
Three-time Grammy nominee DeBarge entertained the crowd at Skid Row's Midnight Mission during this free, very personal concert. Patricia Bagley has every reason to dance.
I thank God for the Midnight Mission. Ever since I'll have 10 years clean and sober in May, and my whole recovery, I've been coming to meetings at this place.
Next in line, get your camera ready.
Bagley has also been a huge fan of DeBarge and his singing siblings since the mid-1980s, when the group's songs Rhythm of the Night and Who's Holding Donna Now topped the charts, making them stars on MTV. But DeBarge has also struggled with addiction. He spent more than a year in prison on drug charges, has been in and out of rehab, and is now making a serious effort to turn his life around.
So we all have our struggles. I'm not perfect, but I thank God I'm not what I used to be. And I'm free from crack. Believe that.
DeBarge contacted the Midnight Mission about performing the free show for others in recovery and facing homelessness. The mission hosts a music or art show almost every Thursday.
But I'll tell you, the musicians who come in say that this is the best audience they've ever had. And I believe that's true because the folks here in our community don't take this for granted. They're so appreciative of anybody who's willing to come down and donate their time and talent in this really special way.
Love y'all. Love y'all. Thank you. Thank you.
Here's to second chances. On Skid Row, I'm Gil Reyes for LA This Week.
The Midnight Mission provides crisis and bridge housing for those experiencing homelessness, also a drug and alcohol recovery program. The mission has been helping Angelenos get back on their feet since 1914. Well, they are known to be unique in the ape world, yet we're losing them by the thousands. Rasha Goel has more on how advocates are urging to help save orangutans.
Yana, I'm at the LA Zoo where a special presentation was held on orangutans. Now, while we're fortunate enough to experience them here at the zoo, well, they do face extinction, and they had some important messages here for the public.
One of the key points I always try to make is, even though they're so much stronger than us, and the males have canines such as like tigers, yeah, and we have killed maybe 1 million of them over the last few centuries that were slowly wiping species to extinction. In not one time in recorded history, not any zoo or any sanctuary in the wild, has the orangutan ever killed a human being. Yeah? They are far more noble creatures than we are.
Leif Cox, an orangutan conservationist and founder of the Orangutan Project, has spent the last 3 decades working to save orangutans from extinction. He shared his experiences and emphasized how important it is for humans to care about these animals.
We can't save orangutans unless people care and understand that these persons who share our planet, intelligent as a 5-6-year-old child, have been driven to extinction for no good reason. And connecting with people with their stories and having compassion for them is part of the solution to saving them.
Cox says the next few years are pivotal in turning this around to help save viable ecosystems, which will help orangutans survive into the future. There are primarily 2 species of orangutans, the Bornean and Sumatran. Orangutans are among the most intelligent primates. The LA Zoo is home to 7 orangutans from the Bornean species.
People, I think, realize that primates are smart, but I don't know if they've realized to the extent to which orangutans can really problem solve and how cognitively advanced they are. And then another thing is just how long-lived they are. I mean, it's one of the problems facing them conservation-wise is that they're a really long-lived species and they don't breed very often. So females only have babies every 7 to 9 years.
Sadly, both species are considered to be critically endangered at this time.
Their forest home has been destroyed for unsustainable forms of agriculture such as palm oil, pulp paper and rubber, which do not benefit the economy or the long-term future of our planet.
It's the reason why getting the message out there has become a priority, and places such as the LA Zoo are pivotal.
The conservation threats that are behind many of these issues that are facing these species, zoos work really hard to not only support some of these initiatives, but also to educate the public on some of the problems that these animals are facing.
As we continue to learn from each other, hopes are to conserve a future where people live in harmony with nature. From the LA Zoo, I'm Rasha Goel for LA This Week.
City leaders celebrate the official grand opening of a new resource center. A free citizenship workshop offers help and advice for those seeking legal permanent status. And the LA Zoo welcomes an adorable new addition to the family. All these stories in Citybeat. Councilmember Kern Price and County Supervisor Mark Ridley Thomas were on hand for the official grand opening of the Hopix Family Solution Center in South LA. The center brings together more than 10 nonprofit and government agencies and acts as a hub for a comprehensive range of services, including housing, jobs, and mental health and substance abuse treatments. Thanks to Measure H, the center has already helped thousands of families stay off the streets. The Hopix Family Solution Center has been operating at this location since July and has helped more than 3,000 families so far.
They come in, if they have nowhere to go, we place them in housing and then we enroll them into our housing intervention, so where we actually find a place for them to live, negotiate with landlords, negotiate rent, and actually pay rent or portions of rent for up to 12 months, and then help them stay in housing.
Councilman Kern Price, in partnership with Resource Center Katasen, also hosted a free citizenship and temporary protective status workshop at Manual Arts High School. During the workshops, individuals obtained one-on-one advice on how to protect themselves and possibly gain legal permanent status. Temporary protected status is granted to countries facing devastating environmental disasters, civil war, or political instability. The humanitarian program protects individuals from deportation and allows them to live and work legally in the U.S. Councilmember Price has been a strong advocate and supporter of all immigrant rights.
Every time I hear him speak, he talks about such a strong community and that how separating people from their family really does affect the community as a whole. So we really appreciate his efforts and all of the support that he lends to the immigration community.
Another TPS workshop is being held on February 24th at the El Santo Nino Community Center at 601 East 23rd Street from 8 a.m. to 3 p.m. To make an appointment, call 213-814-5248. The Los Angeles Zoo announced the birth of its first ever female okapi calf born at the zoo, a unique species often nicknamed the forest giraffe. The calf was born on November 10, 2017, and is the second offspring for 14-year-old mother Opie and the first for 3-year-old father Jackson. The couple was paired together as part of an association of zoos and aquarium species survival plan program with the goal of increasing the okapi population, which is rapidly declining in the wild. The currently unnamed calf spent the first couple of months behind the scenes bonding with her mother and familiarizing herself with her new home and the animal care staff. But guests can now view the female calf and her mother out in their habitat daily. Well, there's nothing like combining art and travel, and it's a perfect blend at Union Station. Rasha Goel has more.
With the vast array of diversity and cultural groups in the city, it's no surprise to be experiencing some tradition at Union Station. After all, why not enjoy some culture as you navigate through the City of Angels? And for these performers, who are from a village in Belize called Wana Aragua, they say it's a way to keep their culture alive for those who are unable to go back home during the holiday season.
Besides being spiritual, it's a war dance. And that's one of the reasons you see the mask, you see the sword. If you look at the black, today we're wearing black and white because it's the way we show that we mourn the past year, welcoming the new year.
This is just one of the many events Metro Art has put on. Through the program, they present music, dance, poetry readings, and film screenings at Union Station.
Metro Art has been adding artistic and cultural events to Union Station for going on 5 years now, and it's part of a larger effort to make Union Station a cultural destination.
It's very important to transfer cultural practices and traditions to the next generation, because if I don't do it, I always tell myself, like, who's going to do it?
And it's a way to promote the visual arts while promoting ridership and connecting people throughout the city. I'm Rasha Goel for LA This Week.
For a list of other Metro Arts events, visit metro.net. Well, check out a collection of some of the biggest failures by some of the world's best-known companies. It's time for a tea party with the fairies, and Porsche fans, a new exhibit rolls into town that you won't want to miss. All this in this week's Things to Do. The Museum of Failure will treat its visitors to a shrine of history's epic fails by some of the world's best-known companies. First displayed in Sweden, the collection of 100-plus failures was originally conceived by psychologist and innovation researcher Dr. Samuel West as part of his research on corporate success and innovation. The marketing catastrophe that was big for her? Yep. The two-wheeled, self-balancing transport innovation Segway? You better believe it. These, along with artifacts spanning from the 17th century right up to the present day, including the frozen beef lasagna by Colgate, demonstrate the types of failures the museum will showcase. Other highlights include the hula chair, the Apple Newton, and even President Donald Trump's version of Monopoly from 1989 made the cut. You won't want to miss the Museum of Failure on February 4th, located at A&D Architecture and Design Museum at 900 East 4th Street. A fairy tea party, such a lovely event. Each table will be hosted by one of a fairy hunt's charming fairies. English tea sandwiches, shortbread cookies, fairy fruit and veggies, and fairy tea will be served, catered by a fairy caterer. Come dressed in your fairy, prince or princess finest attire. Circle time story time with the fairies, music, dancing, and surprises are all part of the fun. A Fairy Hunt's Fairy Tea Party takes place February the 3rd from 11:30 a.m. to 12:45 p.m. at the Tarzana Community and Cultural Center, located at 19130 Ventura Boulevard. For more, visit afairyhunt.com. Celebrating the worldwide impact of Porsche's legendary machines, the Peterson Automotive Museum presents the Porsche Effect. The new exhibit, organized in partnership with Porsche Cars North America and staged in the Mullen Grand Salon, will represent the most comprehensive Porsche display outside of Stuttgart. Museum guests will have a chance to see 50 of the brand's most iconic cars, both in the exhibition and in an all-new Porsche-dedicated vault tour in the museum's underground treasury. The exhibit opens to the public on February the 3rd at the Peterson Museum. For more, visit peterson.org. And that's a look at some things to do. Well, that's going to do it for this edition. I'm Yana Kane from all of us here at LA This Week. Thanks for joining us. A reminder that you can catch us online at lacitywiew.org. You can also follow and like us on Facebook. We'll see you back here next week for more of LA This Week.